A landmark agreement, the Chabahar Port deal, has recently taken center stage in regional connectivity and strategic partnerships. India and Iran have formally signed a long-term agreement for the operation of a key terminal at Iran's Chabahar Port. This deal, signed in May 2024, spans 10 years, cementing India's role in the port's future. The agreement specifically pertains to the Shahid Beheshti terminal, a crucial part of the larger Chabahar Port complex. Strategically located on Iran's southeastern coast, the port offers direct access to the Gulf of Oman and the Indian Ocean, making it immensely important for maritime trade routes. The signing ceremony was a significant event, underscoring the commitment from both nations. Representing India was the Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbananda Sonowal. His Iranian counterpart, Mehrdad Bazarpash, the Minister of Roads and Urban Development, was also present. Their attendance highlighted the high-level political backing for this project. This agreement is the culmination of years of negotiations and interim arrangements, transitioning from shorter-term contracts to a more stable, long-term framework. This stability is crucial for sustained development and investment in the port's infrastructure and capabilities. Chabahar Port's significance lies in its unique geographical positioning. Situated outside the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, it provides a more secure and direct maritime access point. For India, this means an alternative route that bypasses some of the more volatile choke points in the region. The port is envisioned as a major transit hub, facilitating trade not just between India and Iran, but also connecting India to Afghanistan and the broader Central Asian region. The finalization of this 10-year pact is a testament to the enduring strategic interests that bind India and Iran, despite a complex international environment. This agreement demonstrates a shared vision for enhancing regional connectivity and fostering economic cooperation. It paves the way for more substantial Indian involvement in the port's expansion and modernization, offering the necessary security for larger investments and more ambitious development plans. Ultimately, this deal aims to transform Chabahar into a bustling commercial port, benefiting the entire region by creating new trade avenues and economic opportunities for landlocked countries. India's commitment to the Chabahar Port project is underscored by significant financial investments, both past and newly pledged. Under the freshly inked 10-year agreement, India Ports Global Limited, a company formed specifically for managing overseas port projects, will lead the development efforts. The new financial package includes a substantial investment of approximately $120 million. This sum is designated for equipping and further developing the infrastructure at the Shahid Beheshti terminal. This investment is crucial for upgrading the port's handling capacity, efficiency, and overall operational capabilities to meet modern maritime trade demands and attract international shipping lines. Beyond the direct investment in port infrastructure, India has also extended a significant line of credit to Iran, amounting to approximately $250 million. This credit facility supports the development of associated projects and infrastructure that will complement the port's operations. Such financial support ensures the port is well integrated with inland transportation networks, including road and rail connections, essential for the smooth movement of cargo to and from the port. This comprehensive funding approach reflects India's understanding that a port's success heavily depends on its hinterland connectivity and related logistical support systems. These new commitments build upon India's previous financial engagements with the Chabahar project. For instance, in a bilateral agreement signed in 2018, India had already committed $85 million towards the port's expansion. Even earlier, the overall valuation of India's intended investment in the project was cited at around $370 million, indicating a long-standing financial interest in developing Chabahar. These figures illustrate a phased approach to investment, likely influenced by geopolitical factors, the pace of on-ground development, and evolving contractual frameworks. The sustained financial involvement by India in Chabahar is a clear indication of the port's perceived value as a strategic asset. It is not merely a commercial venture, but a project with profound geopolitical and geo-economic implications for New Delhi. By investing capital and operational expertise, India aims to secure its interests in a crucial region, ensuring access to vital trade routes and fostering economic partnerships. The financial commitment, therefore, directly reflects the strategic importance India attaches to Chabahar as a linchpin in its broader regional connectivity and trade ambitions, particularly concerning Central Asia and Afghanistan. The Chabahar Port deal holds paramount strategic importance for India, primarily because it offers an alternative and reliable trade route to Afghanistan and the landlocked countries of Central Asia. For decades, India's overland access to this region has been severely constrained by its difficult relationship with Pakistan. Pakistan has historically denied India transit rights for trade with Afghanistan and beyond, forcing India to rely on longer, more expensive, and often less efficient routes. Chabahar, located in Iran, effectively bypasses Pakistan, providing India with a direct sea-land access route to these strategically important markets and resource-rich nations. This enhanced connectivity is crucial for India's efforts to deepen its engagement with Afghanistan. Despite the challenging political situation in Kabul, India has maintained an interest in contributing to Afghanistan's economic stability and development. Chabahar Port can facilitate the shipment of humanitarian aid, commercial goods, and developmental assistance from India to Afghanistan. In the past, India has utilized Chabahar to send consignments of wheat and other essential supplies to Afghanistan. The formalization of the long-term agreement will make such endeavors more predictable and sustainable, helping India maintain a constructive presence in the country. Beyond Afghanistan, Chabahar opens up vast opportunities for India in Central Asia. The republics of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan are rich in natural resources, including oil, gas, and minerals, and represent growing markets for Indian goods and services. However, lack of direct access has been a major impediment to trade and investment. Chabahar Port, linked with planned and existing road and rail networks, can significantly reduce transport time and costs for Indian businesses looking to engage with Central Asia. This access is vital for India's energy security and for diversifying its economic partnerships in a region of increasing global significance. Furthermore, the development of Chabahar Port allows India to enhance its influence and strengthen its strategic footprint in West Asia and the broader Indian Ocean region. By having a stake in a key port in Iran, India can play a more active role in shaping regional trade and transport corridors. It strengthens bilateral ties with Iran, an important regional player, and provides India with a strategic observation post in a volatile yet critical part of the world. This move is consistent with India's broader foreign policy objective of fostering multi-alignment and pursuing its national interests through proactive engagement with key partners across different geographies. The development of Chabahar Port by India is widely interpreted in geopolitical circles as a strategic countermove to China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, particularly its flagship project, the Gwadar port in Pakistan. Gwadar, operated by China, is a deep-sea port located just about 70 to 80 kilometers east of Chabahar along the same Makran coastline. It is a critical component of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which aims to connect China's western Xinjiang province with the Arabian Sea, providing Beijing with direct access to the Indian Ocean and bypassing the Malacca Strait. There is a stark contrast in the scale of investment and projected capacity between the two ports. China has committed an estimated $62 billion to the overall CPEC project, a significant portion of which is directed towards Gwadar and its associated infrastructure. Gwadar's projected cargo handling capacity is enormous, with targets aiming for around 400 million tons per year by 2030. In comparison, India's investment in Chabahar is more modest, with current financial commitments in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and the immediate target capacity for the Shahid Beheshti terminal is around 10 to 12 million tons per year, though there are plans for expansion. While Chabahar may not match Gwadar in terms of sheer scale or financial backing, its strategic value for India lies in providing an alternative regional connectivity paradigm. It represents India's effort to ensure that it is not entirely overshadowed by China's expanding influence in the region. By developing Chabahar, India offers a different model of partnership, one that it hopes will be seen as more inclusive and transparent by regional countries. The port serves as a symbol of India's commitment to playing a significant role in shaping the economic and strategic landscape of the Indian Ocean region and Central Asia, independent of Chinese-led initiatives. The competition, however, is not just about port infrastructure. It extends to the broader vision of regional integration. China's BRI is a massive global infrastructure development strategy, while India's approach, exemplified by Chabahar and its link to the international North-South transport corridor, is more focused on specific corridors that serve its immediate strategic and economic interests. Chabahar allows India to project its economic power and foster trade relationships on its own terms, ensuring that it remains a relevant player in the evolving great game of regional connectivity, preventing a unipolar dominance by any single power in this critical maritime and overland space. Section 5. Weaving the connectivity web, Chabahar and the INSTC. Chabahar Port is not a standalone project. It is envisioned as a crucial gateway and an integral part of a much larger connectivity initiative known as the International North-South Transport Corridor, or INSTC. The INSTC is a multimodal network of ship, rail and road routes designed to facilitate trade and reduce transport times between India, Iran, Azerbaijan, Russia, Central Asia and potentially Europe. The corridor aims to be significantly shorter and more cost-effective than the traditional Suez Canal route for trade between India and these northern regions, promising to cut transit times by as much as 40% and costs by 30%. The primary objective of the INSTC is to boost trade volumes by creating a more efficient and reliable transportation artery. For India, this means quicker access to markets in Russia and Northern Europe, as well as the resource-rich nations of Central Asia. Chabahar Port plays a pivotal role in this network as the primary maritime entry and exit point for Indian cargo destined for or originating from these regions via Iran. Once goods land at Chabahar, they can be transported northwards using Iran's developing road and rail infrastructure, connecting to the broader INSTC network that extends through Azerbaijan and into Russia. The integration of Chabahar into the INSTC framework is therefore critical for realizing the full potential of both the port and the corridor. This synergy is expected to attract more shipping lines and cargo to Chabahar, thereby increasing its commercial viability and strategic importance. The successful operation of the INSTC, with Chabahar as a key node, could significantly alter regional trade patterns, offering a viable alternative to existing east-west corridors and enhancing India's economic linkages with a vast Eurasian hinterland. It represents a concerted effort to build new supply chains resilient to geopolitical shifts. However, the full operationalization of the INSTC and Chabahar's role within it faces certain logistical challenges. A key among these is the completion of critical railway lines that are essential for efficient cargo movement. The Chabahar-Zahedan railway line, which will connect the port to Iran's national railway network and further to Afghanistan, is still under development. Similarly, the Rasht-Astara railway line, a crucial missing link in the western branch of the INSTC that connects Iran to Azerbaijan and then to Russia, also needs to be completed. Overcoming these infrastructural bottlenecks is essential for the INSTC, and by extension Chabahar, to achieve its ambitious goals. Section 6. The Shadow of Sanctions, Navigating US Policy on Iran. The Chabahar Port deal, while strategically vital for India, has consistently operated under the considerable shadow of United States sanctions imposed on Iran. The US has maintained a complex and often shifting stance on the project. Since 2018, Washington had granted a narrow exemption from its sanctions for the development and operation of Chabahar Port. This waiver was primarily justified on the grounds that the port would support Afghanistan's economic development and facilitate the flow of humanitarian aid to the war-torn, landlocked nation, which was then under a US-backed government. However, the geopolitical landscape and US policy have seen significant shifts. The reimposition of comprehensive and stringent sanctions on Iran by the former US President Donald Trump created immense uncertainty for the Chabahar project and for countries like India looking to engage with Iran. While the port-specific waiver largely remained, the broader sanctions regime made international companies wary of involvement, affecting banking, insurance, and procurement of equipment. More recently, in February 2025, reports emerged that then-President Trump signed a national security memorandum aimed at clamping down on Iran's financial lifelines, specifically mentioning Chabahar Port as a target for reimposed international sanctions, further complicating the situation. The impact of US sanctions has been palpable on India-Iran bilateral trade. Before the tightening of sanctions, particularly on oil imports, Iran was a significant trading partner for India. Bilateral trade stood at around $21 billion in 2018. However, following India's decision to halt Iranian oil imports to comply with US sanctions, this trade volume plummeted dramatically, dropping to approximately $3 billion by 2022. This drastic reduction underscores the powerful effect of US secondary sanctions and the difficult balancing act India has had to perform between its energy needs, strategic interests, and its relationship with the United States. The Biden administration had initially shown some hesitation in revoking the Chabahar waiver, possibly viewing it as a point of leverage in nuclear negotiations with Iran or as a subtle counter to China's regional influence. However, the US has consistently warned of potential sanctions risks for any entity engaging with Iran, creating a climate of caution. The Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan in August 2021 also rendered the original US rationale for the sanctions waiver, supporting the previous Afghan government, obsolete, adding another layer of complexity to the long-term viability of the exemption and India's strategic calculations. Section 7. Overcoming obstacles, challenges in port development. The development of Chabahar Port, despite its strategic promise, is fraught with a multitude of challenges that extend beyond the ever-present issue of US sanctions. While sanctions, including Iran's blacklisting by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, and its lack of access to the SWIFT international payment system, pose significant hurdles for financial transactions and attracting investment, other logistical and geopolitical factors also impede progress. These challenges require careful navigation and sustained effort from all stakeholders involved, particularly India and Iran, to ensure the port reaches its full operational potential. Logistical problems represent a major category of these obstacles. As previously mentioned, the timely completion of crucial railway lines, such as the Chabahar-Zahedan link and the Rasht-Astara segment of the INSDC, is paramount for efficient cargo evacuation and hinterland connectivity. Delays in these projects directly impact Chabahar's ability to function as an effective transit hub. Furthermore, Iran's overall logistics performance, as ranked by institutions like the World Bank, 123 out of 139 countries in a recent assessment, indicates systemic inefficiencies in its domestic transportation and customs procedures that can create bottlenecks for cargo moving through Chabahar. Geopolitical risks also cast a long shadow over the project's development. The uncertainty surrounding the long-term viability of the US sanctions waiver, especially given the recent pronouncements aiming to tighten restrictions, creates an unstable environment for investment and long-term planning. The shifting political dynamics in Afghanistan, particularly the Taliban's control, have altered the original context in which the port's strategic importance was framed for some international actors, particularly the United States. This necessitates a recalibration of diplomatic efforts and a reinforcement of the port's broader regional economic benefits beyond just Afghanistan. Iran's own economic situation adds another layer of complexity. The Iranian economy has been struggling under the weight of international sanctions, alleged corruption, and internal mismanagement. While Tehran actively seeks Indian and other foreign investments to revitalize its economy and infrastructure, its capacity to contribute resources and expedite domestic approvals can be constrained. For India, this means that while Iran is a willing partner, the pace of development on the Iranian side for ancillary infrastructure might be slower than desired. requiring patience and persistent diplomatic engagement to keep the project on track and overcome these multifaceted challenges. Section 8. The larger picture. Geopolitical currents and economic aspirations. The Chabahar Port deal is not merely a bilateral infrastructure project. It is deeply embedded in India's broader economic ambitions and its evolving role in the complex geopolitical landscape of Asia. India has set an ambitious target of becoming the world's third-largest economy by the end of the current decade. Achieving this goal requires diversified trade relationships, secure access to resources and markets, and enhanced regional connectivity. Chabahar is a key enabler in this grand strategy, offering a pathway to expand India's economic footprint in Central Asia and beyond, contributing to its growth trajectory. India's engagement with Chabahar also reflects its nuanced foreign policy approach, often described as multi-alignment or strategic autonomy. New Delhi seeks to maintain constructive relationships with a diverse set of regional and global powers, even those who may be in opposition to each other. For instance, while developing Chabahar in Iran, India, through entities like the Adani Group, has also made significant investments in other parts of the region, such as the $1.2 billion investment in Israel's Haifa port. This balancing act demonstrates India's intent to pursue its national interests by engaging with all relevant players and avoiding entanglement in zero-sum geopolitical contests. The historical context of the Chabahar project also includes the trilateral agreement signed in 2016 between India, Iran, and Afghanistan. This agreement laid the foundational framework for the port's development and its role in connecting the three nations. Although the situation in Afghanistan has changed dramatically since then, the underlying logic of Chabahar as a vital trade link for Afghanistan remains relevant, particularly for humanitarian aid and essential supplies. India's continued commitment to Chabahar signals its long-term vision for regional stability and economic integration, adapting to evolving political realities. Interestingly, while China has a widely publicized 25-year, $400 billion strategic partnership agreement with Iran, its actual investment in Iran has been relatively minimal compared to its investments in other Middle Eastern countries. There has even been some speculation about potential Chinese interest or involvement in Chabahar at various points, though concrete support has been limited. This dynamic underscores the complexities of regional partnerships. India's focused and sustained, albeit more modest, investment in Chabahar carves out a distinct sphere of influence and cooperation, reinforcing its image as a reliable and committed partner in infrastructure development. Section 9. Chabahar's future prospects and potential impact. The future outlook for the Chabahar Port deal, despite the numerous challenges, holds significant potential benefits for India and the wider region. If successfully developed and integrated into broader transport networks, Chabahar can substantially enhance India's trade volumes with Iran, Afghanistan, and the Central Asian republics. This would lead to reduced transportation costs, faster delivery times for goods, and new market opportunities for Indian businesses. The port can thus act as a powerful catalyst for economic growth and diversification for India, strengthening its export competitiveness and ensuring more resilient supply chains. Beyond the direct economic gains, Chabahar offers India considerable strategic autonomy. By providing an alternative route that bypasses Pakistan, it reduces New Delhi's dependence on its western neighbor for access to Afghanistan and Central Asia. This is crucial for India's ability to pursue its foreign policy objectives and maintain its engagement in a strategically vital region without external constraints. The port also strengthens India's maritime presence in the Indian Ocean, allowing it to play a more proactive role in regional security and trade facilitation, contributing to a multipolar balance of power in this critical maritime domain. However, the project's trajectory is not without its critics and potential pitfalls. For example, organizations like the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, FDD, argue that the Chabahar project inadvertently strengthens the Iranian regime, potentially benefits entities like the Taliban through increased trade via Iran, and could even align with Russian interests, thereby undermining US strategic goals in the region. They have advocated for the US to rescind the sanctions waiver and potentially even sanction entities involved, like IPGL, if they continue their engagement. This highlights the delicate diplomatic tightrope India must walk. In conclusion, the Chabahar Port deal represents a bold strategic investment by India, laden with both immense opportunities and significant risks. Its success hinges on a complex interplay of factors: sustained financial commitment, efficient project execution, the mitigation of logistical bottlenecks, and skillful navigation of the turbulent geopolitical waters, particularly concerning US sanctions. If these challenges can be managed effectively, Chabahar has the potential to transform regional connectivity, bolster India's economic ambitions, and reshape the strategic landscape of South and Central Asia for decades to come, marking a true win for Indian diplomacy and foresight.